justice for victims of sexual abuse. And one of the things we discussed was the law. The law places a call against the will of justice for victims of sexual abuse, especially disabled people. Now, most of these perpetrators get to the police and bribe them, so they just boycott the justice process, and justice is not given to these victims. The case is closed. And also, I would like to attack the law from another perspective. The victim is required to be the one to bring forth the evidence of this rape. Like the whole burden for the evidence and everything is on the victim. This person is struggling with pain, this person is struggling with a lot of things, and this person is also saddled with the responsibility of bringing forth evidence. A case study is someone who I saw on Instagram. She's autistic, and then her family found out she was pregnant at 2 months when she was 2 months pregnant already. So they requested for evidence. They asked who did this, and the lady was pointing at someone. Now the person denied it, and there was no system to carry out a DNA test for these people. We all know that DNA testing is very expensive. There was no system to do that. The family just had to bear the brunt of raising the child and everything. So what if there was a system in place to get evidence to support these victims in their fight for justice? Also, we talked about the culture of silence, speaking from basically the African perspective and also in general all over the world. There's a culture of silence where people try to hide sexual violence. They think they will be discriminated against when they speak up. They think they will be stigmatized when they speak up. They think nobody will want to marry them because they are victims of sexual abuse. So that is one problem we face, because we can't get justice for you if you don't know about your case. That is a very, very big problem. Even when these people try to report, their families hold them back. Don't speak, you are bringing shame to this family, you will bring disgrace to this family if you speak up that you're a victim of sexual abuse. And also, we have the culture of blaming and shaming, especially on the part of the people who are supposed to be helping these victims of sexual violence. In some cases, victims go to the police and then you hear things like, "What did you wear to the place? Were you properly dressed? Why did you go to his house so late? What were you doing outside so late?" So we have this culture of blaming and shaming, and that fuels the culture of silence as well. Because some of these people don't want to report because they don't want to be blamed. That is just one thing they don't want. They don't want to be blamed. So I think we all have a responsibility in this part. We have a hand in this too. Because even we as individuals, we are experts at blaming the government and all, but this particular one is a problem emanating from all of us, blaming and shaming victims of sexual abuse. Moving on to the solutions, we talked about the government fostering multisectoral relations. Now, I work on the MCGO project in Nigeria, and one of the approaches we use is the multisectoral approach, where we have stakeholders from different sectors, such as law enforcement agencies, the judiciary, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice, and all of that. So we have these stakeholders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and we try to bring them on board in the fight against gender-based violence so that they can attack the issue from their different perspectives and from their different areas of influence. So these multi-sectoral teams are mostly instituted in the communities. So it will be very, very good and profitable if the government institutionalizes these multi-sectoral teams. Now, we need to maintain the ones at the community level because these people have built trust with their community members, people in their community where they have influence, they have built trust. So we need to maintain that multi-sectoral team at the community level and strengthen it as well, and also institutionalize it, bring it up to the higher level, the state level, the national level, the international level. That would be a very big help in the fight against sexual violence and also getting justice for victims of sexual violence. We also talked about enacting laws concerning safe spaces, bringing up safe spaces for reporting. We should build safe spaces for these victims to report, because most times they don't report because they are not encouraged to do so. We don't have safe spaces where they can report without fear of being judged or fear of being blamed or shamed. And these safe spaces can also be moved to the internet. We are aware that we're in the digital era, so we can use technology to create these safe spaces for people. We can say, oh, this is where you can comfortably report without being judged, and that is in the online space. And we know that that's borderless and it's going to be very huge help. Lastly, we also talked about simplifying the mechanisms of reporting. Sometimes people want to report, but there are bureaucratic bottlenecks. There are so many processes. I was in sessions yesterday where they were talking about funding and how big, how hectic the process is to access funds. So I think that is the same in this issue. The process of reporting can be quite demanding sometimes. And sometimes these victims look at the long process ahead of them and they just sit back, they just decide not to report at all because it is a very tedious process. So we can also enhance the mechanism of getting justice for these victims by simplifying the processes of reporting. Thank you very much.